I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. At Tuesday's Senate Armed Services Committee hearing, Director of National Intelligence Avril Haines was grilled by Senator Elizabeth Warren. Warren questioned Haines about the overclassification of information. The Massachusetts senator claimed that, quote, our classification system has spiraled out of control. The senator pushed Haines to see if she would support an executive order from President Biden to help declassify certain information. Listen in to the exchange here.
On behalf of the chair, Senator Warren.
Thank you, Senator King. So it's paramount to our national security that we keep our most sensitive secrets properly protected and classified, particularly when protecting sources and methods. But I am very concerned about the levels of overclassification and pseudo-classification that we're seeing across the federal government. Everyone understands the need to protect information about our most sensitive capabilities from our enemies, but our classification system has spiraled out of control when it means, for example, that our own four-star generals can't share information with their fellow three-stars. It is hard to see how that level of classification is making America safer. So overclassification also reduces public scrutiny of important issues, and it can hamper accountability. Director Haines, you lead the intelligence community. You have years of experience in these matters. Do you think that overclassification is a national security problem?
I do, Senator. I've stated this explicitly. I do think it's a challenge. As long as I've been in government, frankly, there have been blue ribbon commissions that have looked at this, have said there's significant overclassification. This is a challenge, as you indicate, from a democratic perspective, but it's also a challenge from a national security perspective, because if we can't share information as easily as we might otherwise be if it were appropriately classified, then that obviously affects our capacity to work on these issues. It's a very challenging issue, as I know you know well. In other words, it is, there are technical aspects to it, there are cultural aspects.
So let's talk about that just a little bit. And I want to say I agree with you that overclassification has been a problem across administrations. The Obama administration put out 2 different executive orders aimed at improving classification and information sharing, but that was more than a decade ago, and obviously the problem persists. So let me ask this a different way. Director Haines, would you support the administration releasing a new executive order on classification practices to ensure that we are protecting national security information while keeping our commitments to open government?
Without knowing exactly what it would say, it's sort of hard for me to say I would support an executive order on that subject. I mean, I think I am constantly looking for additional ways in which we might try to help address this issue. And we have a number of ways that we're investing in the intelligence community on these issues. But I
appreciate that. And I'm not asking you to sign a blank check
fair enough.
here. But you're the president's principal advisor on intelligence matters. And I'm just asking if you would be supportive if the president wanted to take that step.
Well, I am supportive of what the president wants to take as steps within his authority and appropriate policy to do. So, yes, in that sense, I would be.
Okay, so let me ask this then from one more perspective, and that is during the Ukraine crisis. We have seen that a well-functioning declassification system can be incredibly powerful. The work by the Biden administration to expose what the Intelligence Committee knew about Putin's plans seriously hurt Russia's credibility, and it strengthened our response to an illegal and immoral war. My understanding is that it took reshuffling of resources to make that happen, and I applaud that. But we need more of it. The most recent numbers that I've seen is that we spend $18 billion protecting the classification system, and only about $102 million, do the math fast in your head, about 5% of that number on declassification efforts. And that ratio feels off in a democracy. So with that in mind, Director Haines, are there any lessons learned from Ukraine about how we can expedite declassification when there's a compelling reason to do so?
I think there are lessons to be learned from Ukraine, and And it will be easier to talk about this in closed session, but I think there's some value that we could discuss in closed session on those issues. And I do think it has helped to help other people understand the value of ensuring that we are classifying things at the appropriate level and how declassification can support foreign policy in different ways. So I think that's all to the good.
Good. You know, in a democracy, we have a duty to be accountable to the public. And when we keep secrets from Americans, there needs to be a compelling public interest in doing so. And in too many cases, it seems that public officials err on the side of secrecy because the information could be embarrassing, or even worse, just because it's easier not to be accountable to the American people. So I urge all of our agencies to address this problem, and I look forward to working with you on it. Thank you.